Namaste everyone, I'm Pandit Vivek Maharaj and I welcome you to this first installment of Yoga with Vivek. Today we're here at the beautiful Palmis Park in San Fernando, where I would like to start by telling you what is yoga. In the Western world, in Trinidad where we're from, a lot of us think that when we hear yoga, we think of stretching, we think of doing postures, we think of breathing. But yoga is so much more than that. Yoga comes from a rich and storied tradition and legacy. Yoga is derived from the Sanskrit word yuj, which means union. So yoga is actually the union of the soul with the body, the union of the soul with that God. When we say namaste at the start and sometimes at the end of class, namaste actually acknowledges this divinity, this soul, this intellect that's within us. So by saying namaste, it actually means the soul, that divinity within me, recognize and greets that divinity, that soul within you. It shows the interconnectedness of all of us, and it helps us to know that we are all one and the same. That being said, yoga is much more than postures. Yes, there's the Ashtanga yoga, which is what most persons think of when we think of yoga. That's the 8-limbed version of yoga that was developed and produced by Patanjali in India. However, yoga is much more than that. If we look at the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, Bhagavan Krishna, speaks about the 6 different types of yoga, including Karma Yoga, which talks about how our actions affect us as well as those beyond us. So it's more than just postures, it's more than just breathing, it's actually a way of life. If we focus strictly on the Patanjali Yoga, the Ashtanga Yoga, we see that the 8 different limbs actually tells us about these different things. So there's Yam, Niyam, Dhyan, Pranayam, Asanam, 8 different limbs. One of the limbs talks about the emotional intelligence that we have to have. One of them talks about doing good, helping others in the world. One, yes, is postures, the asanas. One is breathing, so yes, breathing comes into it. One is meditation. One is stillness. And the final one would be that unification with God. So it's more than just postures, although we are going to be focusing a lot on the postures, on the breathing in this series. I will be giving you some insight as well as some additional spiritual guidance that you can incorporate into your practice. Yoga, while it's seen as primarily Indian and Hindu, has been accepted throughout the world and throughout many different cultures. So while it may have a Vedic origin, it's not strictly that something that's Hindu, strictly it's something that's Indian. So I think it's something that all of us as Trinidadians, as citizens of the world, we can use and we can incorporate into our lives. I invite you to roll out your mats and join me on the mats as I describe to you the different terms and the basic benefits that we will get throughout your yoga practice. If you don't have a yoga mat today, you can use a large beach towel or something that gives you that flat area to work on. A mat is mainly for your comfort. You can practice yoga off of the mat, but generally we advise you to have a mat just for that level of comfort as you, especially if you're a beginner, it gives you that comfort on your knees, on your joints, and on your body as you sit. So what you're going to do, we're going to sit in Sukhasana, the comfort-giving posture. So you'll hear me using a lot of the word asan. In Sanskrit, asan just means posture. So it's basically something that you hold or you move through, allowing the different muscles to stretch as well as stabilize. Yoga, while it's primarily not a type of exercise, actually gives you a very deep stretch into the little muscles that you typically do not get from traditional Western forms of exercise. So your strength training, your running, your aerobics, your swimming, they do give you benefits of the larger muscles. However, what yoga does, it helps to stretch those smaller muscles, stabilizing those smaller muscles and allowing those larger muscles to relax and recover. So while you're sitting in Sukhasana, the comfort-giving posture, that's the posture we would sit on the floor with our legs crossed. So for men, generally when we sit, we pull our right legs in first, followed by the left. Whereas for women, you would put your left leg in first, followed by the right. And that's because in yogic traditions, in Vedic traditions, for men, the majority of our energy, the majority of our vital life force originates on the right side of the body, which is where Shiva also resonates in his Ardha Navishwara form. Woman, your energy, your vital life spirit primarily originates on your left, which is where Parvati, the consort of Bhagwan Shiva, resides in the Ardha Narishwara form. It's not incorrect for a man to pull his left leg in first, followed by his right, or for a woman to pull her right leg followed by her left in first, whatever is more comfortable for you. I'm just giving you the traditional way that it's done. While you're sitting in Sukhasana, you try to keep the spine erect, keep the spine up so that your posture remains and you don't put too much strain on the top of the spine. And you can have your hands on the knees. Either cap your hand to the knees, or you can go into the mudra where you suppress the index finger, have those three fingers pointing and resting on the knee. So you do for both hands. While you're sitting here, what this does, it stops any of your positive energy from being released because you're suppressing the positive and allowing any negative energy, negative emotions to flow out of you towards the earth. So just by sitting like this, subconsciously or consciously, it helps the body to retain positivity and expel negativity, whereas it be negative emotions, negative experiences, or any other form of negativity and any kind of pain that you may be experiencing. Sitting like this, again, the head is kept center, nose center, looking straight ahead. You can have the eyes opened or closed as you sit in your Sukhasana. This is the most basic form of posture in yoga. So if ever I'm doing a posture in future and you feel any kind of discomfort or pain, feel free to come back to this base, to this Sukhasana. Sukh in Sanskrit means comfort. So Sukhdeo is the person who provides the comfort of God. So when I say Sukhasana, as I have explained, you're sitting in the comfort-giving posture, or that posture that provides the most comfort for the body. While you're sitting here, it's important to consider the breathing. So the breath is the most powerful aspect of life. You can go 7 days, 5 to 7 days without food. You can go up to 3 days without water, but you cannot go even 2 minutes without breathing. Breath is very vital for us, not only in yoga, but also in traditional Western medicine as well as Eastern medicine. So it's important to consider your breath. In yoga, breath is referred to as pranayam. Pran, breath, ayam, the way we get into the breath. So in yoga, pranayam is the science of breathing. It's the 4th or the 5th step in Patanjali Yoga. So it's a very, very important stage to consider. Again, there's some breaths that are very beginner, which is the ones I can cover throughout this series. But there are some that are very advanced and that I would not be able to do on such a large platform. Just as there are some more advanced postures that I would not be able to demonstrate on a larger platform. For those more advanced postures, you need to have a dedicated guru or teacher that will guide you to your practice. So while we're sitting, the most common way that we breathe in yoga is deeply in through both nostrils, keeping the mouth closed. And as you inhale, you should feel the breath coming deep into the lungs. Our lungs have a capacity of generally 2,000 to 3,000 cubic centimeters of air, depending on your height, your size. Men generally have larger lungs as well. So you're trying to take in as much air as possible, filling the lungs to capacity, ensuring that you can take in as much oxygen from the air as possible. When you breathe out again through both nostrils, not through the mouth. And breathing through the nostrils, pushing out as much air as possible, again allows most carbon dioxide to come out of the body. The lungs always retain approximately 400 to 700 cubic centimeters of air even when expelled, which prevents the lungs from sticking together and collapsing, which would be bad. So even though you might take in a bit more oxygen, you will always expel slightly less air than what you would take in, which is fine. Your body is very smart. It tells you how it feels and what you should do throughout your practice, throughout your life. So you're going to sit in Sukhasana, just breathing deeply in through the nose and out through the nose. Very good. In through the nose and out through the nose. Continue this very deep cyclical breathing, and you can actually feel your muscles relaxing. If you have any strain on the shoulders, a lot of times if we have any stress, any pain, we feel a lot in the shoulders, we feel that tension. You should feel all of that dissipating as you breathe. You should feel yourself becoming more grounded, feeling more stable on that mat, on the ground below you. So continue to breathe and exhale. If you want to look more into the Vedic, the meditation side of it as well, as you inhale, you can say so, and as you exhale, you can say hum. So you'll be saying so and hum. So, meaning I am you, hum, you am I. So again, yoga is telling us we are all interconnected. We're all different aspects of that same universal being. And whatever we do affects other person. So it tells us we do need to consider not just ourselves, but all of those around us. So hum. So hum. You may also hear a person saying hum so, because it's the same thing. He am I am he. Just reversing the syllables in Sanskrit. Very good. Continue that very deep breathing in and out. From here, we're going to a very basic breath that helps to clear the sinuses, clear anything along the trachea, along the nose, the mucous passages, called Kalpabhati Pranayumna, or the shining fire breath. For this breath, you're going to exhale deeply, pushing from the diaphragm. So as you know, the diaphragm is a sheet of muscles at the base of the lungs that would contract and relax to open up the lung cavity, which allows oxygen, air to come in or out of the body. This posture, Kalpabhati Pranayumna, strengthens the diaphragm, so allows you to increase and strengthen your lung capacity. It also helps to ensure that you are properly expelling all of that carbon dioxide, all of that waste from within, and taking back in that vital oxygen throughout the body. We'll start with the basic. You take your right hand on the belly button, palms facing up, and you take your left hand and cover your left nostril. Inhale through the nose, and from here you're going to exhale forcefully through that right nostril, pushing with the diaphragm. So as you push with the diaphragm, you'll feel the stomach, the belly contract in. Very good. And because of the pressure that's exhaling so forcefully out causes, your body naturally would take in oxygen because of that pressure difference. So I'll not go into the mechanics of breathing in this episode, but in future episodes, tune in and you will be able to understand how our lungs operate and why this causes us to exhale and inhale so forcefully and exchange that air. Generally for Kalpabhati Pranayumna, we do cycles of 21 on each side. If you're now beginning your practice, now beginning your breath, 21 breaths might be a little bit difficult for you. So you can do it in cycles of 9, 11, 13, or 15. I'm going to start with 21. You can follow along, and if you're able to keep up to the 21, that's fine. If you do have to stop, remember 9, 11, 13, 15. So right hand on the belly button, left hand. Inhale, and we're going to exhale forcefully 21 times through that right nostril. After the 21st breath, leave the stomach contracted, the breath out. You bring that left hand down over the right. Inhale through both nostrils. And you're going to bring that right hand up to cover the right nostril. And we're going to exhale forcefully 21 times through the left. Again, after the final breath, you leave the stomach contracted, breath out. You bring that right hand down over the left. Inhale through both and exhale. So that's the beginner of Kapalbhati Pranayumna, or the shining fire breath. And again, as we sit, we try to keep the spine erect. So it's very tempting, and you see a lot of times when we sit in prayers, we're sitting, we tend to want to slouch forward. That puts a lot of additional strain on the middle back, on the upper back, and it causes the posture to go out of sync. So as we sit, try to keep the shoulders back and down, keeping that spine erect in its natural position. In more advanced versions of Kapalbhati Pranayumna, you exhale forcefully through both nostrils rather than just a single nostril. So you would see that this clears out any mucus that you may have, and with this Sahara dust that we've been having lately, it's important to clear the dust out, clear the nostrils, clear the passages. This posture also, because it's increasing that oxygen into the body, helps it increase the blood flow and the oxygen to the brain. So for children, for persons who are studying, persons who are doing a lot of intense brain work, brain activity, this posture helps with your memory as well as your concentration. So for any children, and yes, children of all ages can do yoga, this is one of the breaths that I advise them to do before they start to study for exams, and even a few minutes before they start their exams, because this will help them with their concentration and allow them to write their exams more effectively and more efficiently. So I encourage you to use this breath throughout your practice. It's most effective when done early in the morning, but it can be done at any time of the day if you do feel the need to. If you feel that you have some time and you just want to clear your nasal passages, I encourage you to do Kapalbhati Pranayumna. So now that we've finished our first episode, we've learned about the origins of yoga, and we've learned about the basic names and terms that we'll be using throughout the series. I invite you to join me every 2 weeks, where we'll explore different facets, different postures, and different level of difficulties. We continue to ask you to tune into South TV, where we'll show you the different aspects of life, particularly in South Trinidad, but we will explore different things that we will see throughout Trinidad and Tobago. I also invite you to join my personal page, Jiva Titi, where I'll not only be reposting these yoga videos for you, but also providing information on cancer, spirituality, and mental health. Namaste.